Hello everyone, welcome back to Wrath of the Righteous Let's Play. We are going to continue where we left off, which is finishing talking to everyone we need to talk to and head out. So we finished... No, we have to do Hilor. Yeah. A tall, athletic man greets you. His hair is prematurely gray and scoring close to his head in a military style. He is lean and well groomed, and a monocle twinkles coldly in his eyes. The bold set of his jaw and his large but agile frame attest that here is a man who is always ready to be on the move. Greetings, I am Hilor, venture captain of the Pathfinder Society. I am the superior officer among Pathfinders in this region of Mendev. However, the Society is running almost no operations here right now. Besides me, there are almost no Pathfinders here. Actually, I'm only stuck here because of an old feud with a demon worshipper known as the Spinner of Nightmares. I've had to work alone without the support of the Society, but I've made a lot of acquaintances among the local mercenaries and daring fighters. If you need any good fighters for an honest cause, talk to me. I want to know more about you. What exactly are you interested in? I am a common Pathfinder. There are many others like us. Faith in my order brought me to this land. The Pathfinder Society is a globe-spanning organization based in Absalom. The membership consists primarily of Pathfinders adventurers who travel throughout Galorian, usually inconspicuously, and explore, delve, and otherwise experience the lesser-seen parts of the world. They send journals documenting their travels back to their adventure captains, who also assign them new missions and suggest new places to explore. The most exciting and illuminating of these journals are compiled in the Pathfinder Chronicles, an ongoing series of books that collects the history and mysteries of Galorian for its memberships and the general public. How did you end up here? I was working on an assignment for the Pathfinder Society, and then a demon worshiper named the Spindle of Nightmares abducted my daughter, Lori. Yeah. For the past 3 years, I've been trying to save her. During this time, I've become a specialist in scouting demon territory. I've even planted agents among the cultists. Truth be told, in pursuing the Spinners of Nightmares, I've been acting more on behalf of Wayne Godfrey than the Pathfinder Society. It's a long story. Maybe I'll tell you the rest of it sometime. Hilor frowns grimly. The Spinner of Nightmares is a true spawn of the Abyss. I've fought her many times, but I've never been able to seize her by the throat. Tell me about the Pathfinder Society. The Pathfinder Society is a global... I just read this. The Pathfinder Society is a global organization that unites opportunists and adventurers of all kinds. We explore the world and uncover its secrets, travel, and sometimes face down threats. In times of trouble, the latter becomes our primary focus. We're driven by curiosity and the desire to make the world a better place. And of course, some seek profit of hunger or glory. But in any case, it's hard work. They might send you anywhere on the mission. Weaklings have little place in the society. It's more for seasoned fighters. There are society lodges in many cities. The closest one is in Nerosian. They're each led by venture captains, lads like me. The Grand Lodge is in Absalom, the center of the world. Decemvirate sits there, the anonymous council of our leaders. Tell me about your daughter. Hiller smiles, shows his healthy white teeth. As a girl, Lori was just an angel. We lost her mother early on. She was left to follow my example, a drifter with little idea how to talk to a 10-year-old girl. But even with such questionable parenting, Lori managed to grow into a wonderful girl, brave, smart, beautiful, and entirely unbearable. She's always argued with me about everything. When Lori was 18 and told me she was going to be a Pathfinder, all I said was, all right. I knew there was no use to try and talk her out of it, and she was a fine Pathfinder. Hiller's fist clenched with a painful sounding crack. I'll never forgive the Spender of Nightmares for taking my girl from me. I have no other questions. Tell me about your confrontation with the Spender of Nightmares. It all began with the task of the Pathfinder Society. I arrived in Erosion, who we already know is the capital of the Crusade state of Mendel, the holy city of Iomade. I arrived in Erosion with my team to investigate the sudden death of a famous crusader, Baron Farron. We were focused in a small hospital for the wealthy, while Farron was being treated shortly before his death. It turned out that a gang of Baphomet's cultists calling themselves the Labyrinth of Mind had gotten a foothold at the hospital. They were obsessed with twisting the minds of their victims and targeted fragile people too weak to resist. The hospital was filled with perfect victims, isolated for weeks from the outside world, completely helpless, and when they returned, they were different, almost normal. But the moment they heard a certain phrase, something dark awoke in their mind, and they transformed into servants of Baphomet, ready to lie, betray, and even kill. The Labyrinth of Mind was preparing to infiltrate all the elite circles in Mendel, but Baron Farron stopped them. He was too loyal to his oath and too resistant to their spells. He fought for his freedom until the strain broke his heart. We opened and cleaned the city of Baphomet's pit of vipers. Their den was a crater of sin and filth. They cast spells on each other, and their loathsome fantasies stepped real from their minds into the world. They dreamt of horrible and forbidden things, and they fought like mad. We burnt the place to the ground and slaughtered everyone we could, but the leaders of the cult were able to flee, and they were set upon revenge. They abducted my daughter Lori, who served under my command in the Pathfinder Society. They left me a note full of tart insults, mockery, and sneers. From that note, I learned the name of my enemy, the Spinner of Nightmares. A few months later, I confirmed that she was the leader of the Labyrinth of Minds. My hunt had begun. I would get Lori back at any cost. Hiller grits his teeth with bulldog determination. I have to go. Good luck. Watch your step. Only trust your closest friends. The enemy is cunning and treacherous. Did we level up Tila? Yeah, so that means we talked to her. Yeah. Who is the oldest? Hiller and the Spinner of Nightmares. Book the first of the astonishing exploits of Venture Captain Hiller, published by the Pathfinder Society. The Spinner of Nightmares let out a fiendish laugh, and the wind rose up, sending the sound rippling across the roof of the cavernous temple and off into the darkening sky. You cannot protect them. The demon worshipper performed a graceful pirouette, as though she was mocking the ungainly Venture Captain, who was slowly picking his way across the slippery roof tiles. You may have saved Anthoclitus today, but you won't save anyone who gets in my way. I will always be one step ahead, plunging a dagger into the heart of the next fool and sullying your path with blood that you will never be able to wipe clean. Hiller lost his footing once again, and only by a miracle did he not go plummeting to his death. His heart threatened to beat right out of his chest, but his mind was consumed with feverish awareness of how close he was to his target. Only a few dozen paces separated him from the Spinner of Nightmares, close enough to shoot, but the venture captain wanted to be sure the bolt wouldn't kill her, merely maim and immobilize her. The hand crossbow that Hiller consumed under the folds of his cloak was throwing off his balance. The jig's up, the spinner of nightmares. That's so weird. So, oh. The venture captain leaned forward as though trying to catch his breath. A diversionary tactic designed to weaken the vigilance of the villain, who seemed to be waiting for something on the peak of the roof. You have one chance to save your pathetic life. Surrender now. The spinner of nightmares froze, as if considering the captain's words, before lunging forward like a snake and spitting with contempt. You will never see her again. Click twain, the whistle of the bolt released from his cradle, and the swish of the spinner of nightmares cloak as she dodged the shot, laughing. Hitler let out a bellow, pouring all of his hatred and despair into the shout, dashing forward and slipping onto the roof, tumbling to his knees, gripping a jagged roof tile with his last remaining strength. The venture captain swallowed a grunt of pain and raised his head, only to watch his daughter's abductor be swept away on the black wind. I will find you, the spinner of nightmares, Hiller. I will find you, the spinner of nightmares. The thug is throwing me off, Hiller shouted, seemed to carry forth and wide across the whole of Mendel. I'll find you and I'll tear out your duplicitous heart. Well, that's the story. And Irabeth. Irabeth rubs her red and tired eyes. In its success hides the city. There is a tiefling chained up in a defender's heart. What can you tell me about him? Irabeth shrugs scornfully. We're just a petty thief from a gang of tieflings operating in Carnabras. That's what we call them in these parts. They tried to rob a vendor of magical items recently. Unfortunately, we apprehended only one of them, and the rest managed to escape. We have nowhere else to keep him apart from the defender's heart, but that's hardly a prison. Woljuf knows it too. He's been begging us for days to let him go free or have someone vouch for him. He's already asked you to put in a good word for him, hasn't he? Irabeth squints at you thoughtfully, then shrugs. If you want to recruit Woljuf and put him to good use, go ahead and take him off our guard's hands. We can ill afford to let a soldier spend their days watching over a middling thief. I hope the tiefling proves useful should you decide to take him along. What is our main objective? You heard what the demon said. They're going to desecrate. They're going to desecrate the ward stone and blow up the whole barrier around the world wound. That would be an even worse disaster than the World Wound's expansion before the Second Crusade. Not only Canabras, but every city with a ward stone would be destroyed, including the capital. We can't allow that, no matter what. We will retake, even destroy it if we must. Iomede's gift must not become a weapon of the abyss. I guess that's a version of the if we can't have it, you can't either. These ward stones, what are they? They're our greatest weapon. They are our greatest treasure. The shield given to us by Iomede herself, and placed in Canabras and other Mendevian cities and fortresses by her herald. The chain of war stones forms a protective barrier that stops the expansion of the world wound and keeps the demons from moving beyond its borders. I shudder to think what will happen if the barrier falls. Tell me about the Eagle Watch. It was a small order created to fight not only demons but also the enemy within, to maintain the purity of the paladin rank, prevent heresy, and identify spies, and it failed miserably at that. The Templars of the Ivory Lambert infiltrated and formed their nest within its ranks. Baphomet's cultists. After the Queen entrusted me with leading the order, and Nevia and I practically built it from scratch. We got rid of the dead weight, people who weren't committed. We organized ways to transmit messages and orders safely. We introduced reliable ciphers. We found tactic allies around the city, from crusader orders to street beggars. That was our personal crusade. This was my personal crusade to purge the city of the Templars who had infested it, and I thought I was winning. I could feel it. We were so close to driving the cultists out of Canabras, but Erebeth frowns. It's hard to admit, but those successes didn't count for much once the demons entered the city. Hmm. On the contrary, if it wasn't for you, there wouldn't be a headquarters at the Defender's Heart. The cultists would have served up the city on a platter to the demons. The lines on Erebeth's forehead softens. Yes, that's true. It's a good thing we achieved something. Thank you. Allow me to ask a few personal questions. Frowning a little, Erebeth nods. Please, but I must warn you, there are some things I don't have the right to discuss. Where did you come from? Where are you from? I was born in Canabras. I grew up on a farm just outside, but my way back home lay at the ends of the long and winding roads. It took me years of traveling through foreign lands before I came to be where I've always belonged. How did you become a paladin? A bitter smile appears on the half-orc's face. I don't much like remembering it. I don't much like to remember it. Believe it or not, the story of how I became a paladin is almost the story of how I befell to become a knight. My parents are crusaders. May their souls stand together in Iomede's celestial army. When I was born, they retired from the war and started preparing me to continue their legacy. But my father was an arc. You would be pressed to find a calmer, wiser, and more pious servant of the goddess than he. But still, all his life he was dogged by sideways looks and whispers. Galorian have a lot of prejudices for so many races. Tieflings, orcs. When I grew older and it was time for me to serve, I decided anywhere but Canabras. That was where my father had served loyally, and his only reward had been injustice. Besides, the witch hunters led by the honorable prelate Halrun stalked the city with a heavy hand. Who knows what they had done to a strange girl with green skin. Instead, I went to a smirk that looks more like a painful grimace crosses her face. You can laugh if you want, but I was young and foolish. I chose last wall of all places. You can imagine how well it went. You can imagine how well I was accepted in a country that had been battling arcs of Belskin since its foundation. Halrun Shapak, Canopus' famed prelate. That's the man who found us in the beginning. Halrun Shapak first gained the trust and admiration of city people by organizing inquisitions against suspecting demon worshippers and witches. Halrun and his force of elite witch hunters exposed dozens of cultists and spies, and it is said executed many more under suspicion but no real proof. These events started the Third Crusade, widely accepted as the last effective and most destructive of the four crusades. Still, Halrun evoked respect and admiration in the populace as well as fear, and agreed to guide the city as its prelate. So he just executed people. Holduf Belkzen. While arcs can be found throughout Galorian, nowhere else are they as plentiful as are alive in the densely populated settlement as the Holduf Belkskin. Belkzen is an unforgiving wasteland filled with shrub brush, steep mountains, and uneven badlands, where water is scarce and generally limited to the seasonal flood road. There were many there like me, but we were all treated as second-class citizens. To the locals, my green skin was worse than leper scab. Even my brothers in faith kept their distance. I took my vows, and the goddess granted me the powers of a paladin. But even then, not a single order would accept me into their ranks. Oh wow. I spent another 6 months knocking on doors before I realized the simple truth. I serve Iomade, not the people. I don't have to prostrate myself before them, so I left as a paladin, but not a, as a paladin, but not a knight. I'm sure you can imagine what it's like. In most places, tiefling in most places, tieflings are despised even more than half orcs. How did you come to join the knightly order? I left last fall and went traveling. The goddess guided me, and my path led me to where atrocities were happening. I often fought in exchange for gold, but never for unworthy aims, of course. I wandered the river kingdoms for a few years, killing monsters and tracking down criminals. Sometimes I thought I was just wasting time, that my true place was in Canabras, but I pushed those thoughts away. I didn't even want to think about going back, but in the end, divine providence had brought me to my senses. I know the Stolen Lands is in the River Kingdom for sure. The River Kingdoms has long been a haven for inland pirates, anarchists, exiles, and anyone who seem to make it more cannot seem to make it in more civilized nations. The kingdoms are by no means a notified nation, but rather a constantly shifting group of city-states and fiefdoms, each at war with the others, both to gain more power and prevent their own demise. The river kingdoms are located in the marshy lowlands of Selene River Basin, where its three branches combine in their journey south to the inner sea. There are a few roads throughout the land and branching wells of Selene, and its tributaries provide the primary means of transportation throughout and within the region. At least I think it's within the Stolen Lands. It happened in Timon. Timon? Timon. I was tracking a gang of bandits, which my employer suspected was a cover for Rasmussen spies. I managed to find their lair, but inside I found something far more dangerous than spies: an unholy temple of Zankuthon. When I broke in there, the cultists were about to sacrifice someone, the person who was destined to become my wife, Anevia. But that's another story. I know that we read about him, brother of Shaylin. And Rasmussen River Kingdoms. After I cut down the cultists, I examined their papers and couldn't believe my eyes. A network of evil cults had spread throughout all of Avestan, including Mendev. Worse, the documents clearly showed that their allies, the Templars of the Ivory Lambert, had infested my native Canabras, and were even among the ranks of the Paladins. After that, delaying my homecoming would be tantamount to destruction. Luckily, I was no longer alone. Anevia was as eager to destroy the cultists as I was. Anevia and I hurried to Canabras, but we couldn't trust anyone. The papers indicated that the cultists had infiltrated everything. Luckily, I had some experience in investigation, and my beloved, the half-orc, smiles warmly. She knew her way around working locks, telling people, and trading information with the city's bottom feeders. Soon we defeated, alas, not the whole Hydra, but a few of its heads. Do you know who turned out to be the leader of the cultists? The commander of the Eagle Watch. Can you imagine? While Berlic Halvern was chasing witches throughout the city, the enemy had infiltrated the very order responsible for internal security. The scandal reached the ears of the queen. At first, she planned to disband the order in disgrace, but then she offered his command to me and put his salvation in my hands. Of course, there was one small catch. I wasn't a knight, but I was made commander just the same, skipping the usual progression through the ranks. Pass the religion check. I can't imagine the followers of Zankuthon in alliance with demon worshippers. Shouldn't they hate each other? They should, but Baphomet's minions are masters of deception. They manipulate Zankuthon's butchers as easily as Iomede's knights. The cultists from the unholy temple didn't know the true face of their associates in Canabras. We ourselves learned the truth much later after getting to the bottom of their nest. How did the people of Canabras feel about your background? They tolerated it surprisingly well. I shouldn't have been so wary. Crusaders don't tend to be prejudiced as a rule. After all, humans from all over the world, even from other continents, come here to fight the demons. Apparently, the people were only suspicious of full-blooded orcs. There were already many like me here, and we don't have any problems. Though the locals do have their superstitions. Mendelf is as merciless as Last Wall. They just have a different set of victims. I kept seeing I kept seeing those same sideways looks and scowls, hearing the familiar whispers, but where they once used to whisper behind my back and point at me, now they whisper in my ear and point at someone else. It's so strange to be on the other side of humiliation, to wipe the spit from your face, and suddenly be invited to change positions and spit at someone else's. I wonder if she's talking about tieflings or full blown orcs or another race. You must have figured out by now. Oh, okay. You must have figured out by now I'm talking about tieflings. It's true that there are many of them among the cultists and few among our crusaders, and our fighters do all they can to drive away those who would be our allies. People shun them, call them a spawn, or worse, as if they chose to be born like that. I believe it's quite a feat to rise against the call of one's blood and join the forces of good. Still, most only see them as the enemy. I once saw a knight bleeding to death because he wouldn't let a tiefling priest touch his wound. Alas, I haven't been able to change this in all my time in Canabras. I don't even know what to feel. That's horrible. Perhaps you will. I hope your example will show others of your kind that they are needed here. Perhaps looking at you, even some of the cultists will see that birth does not consign you to a lie in the service of evil. Tell me about Anevia. We met in Simmon as I was wandering aimlessly from one ordeal to another. We returned to Canabras together. We exposed the Templar of Ivory Labyrinth. The day the Queen knighted me was the second happiest day of my life. The first was the day of our wedding. But Anevia isn't just my beloved. She's my staunchest ally. We share every victory and defeat. The best of me is alive thanks to her. Thank you for saving her back then. The day Canabras fell, before her return, the only thing giving me the strength to protect the defender's heart was the hope that I'll see her again. We are in your debt. Thank you for your answers. Every breath nights without saying a word. I have to go. Go. My Iomade keep you safe. I was looking at, I think Dr. Incompetent. I was looking at another playthrough. Like I said, I always watch as up to where I ended, where I stopped, and I wanna believe. I'm pretty sure he holds a. I don't remember if I got the bag of holding. Actually, there we go. Now let's try this one more time. All right. I really want the Dark Omen eventually. Maybe this for I'm not sure who all we're gonna take. The only two I'm 100% about is what's her name? I don't remember. The witch And I think that's it. Maybe Darren. I'm not sure about the other Ember. That's her name. I'm not sure about the other members. What was that? Oh wait. Do I have? I'm gonna have to sell something. What do I know I'm not going to use? Fuck all this one-handed. I wanna dueling sword. It's cold iron, so I'm not going to give that up. The Warhammer. Even though, oh, that is horrible. Help me talk to him and get Georgia.
Well, Chief, what do you got for me?
Wardruff is sitting in the same place with his tail impatiently batting the floor. I talked to Arabeth and I decided to make you part of my troop. We'll see how it goes.
You must be a smooth talker. Come on, Delvin, get these bracelets of yours off me. I'm going free.
You're sure to regret this. This tiefling will fleece you for everything you've got. Mark my words.
You're a bitter little man, Delvin. Petty and mean. You can't even be happy for me, can ya? I pity you. I'll leave you alone with your sad little soul. So long. And now, Chief, straight down to business. You see, I'm one of those guys that people around here call thieflings. We just call ourselves the family. After we knocked over that shop and I got stuck here in the Defender's Heart, a little bird told me that big sister Charisme wanted to see me. That she had some questions to ask me. You following? Now, she won't be asking me questions like, Woljif, how'd you manage to get out of this one? Or, Woljif, you're so thin, didn't they feed you? No, something serious has gone down, and I just know they want to try to pin something on me. I can feel it in my tail. So, I knew right away that I couldn't go alone. You turned up just in time, Chief. You don't need to do anything when we get there. Just stand behind me and look mean, and I'll handle the rest. Somehow. Let's go, I'll show you the way.
Identifying items. You have received the item bracers that no one in your party. No one in our party has been able to identify a lot of stuff. I think it was Wolf just bracers though. Yeah. Oh yeah, he does. Mirror image. He already has an ear piercing. I have two. Can he not? He may have that already. I'm not sure why he can't do that. Scroll of. Just to get him out the way. But. And. Spell book. Wait, first. Let's go to character. As descendants of demons, tieflings are not the most respected or trusted of Mendel's citizens, to put it mildly. However, a few minutes in conversation with Woodruff is enough to see that it isn't prejudice working against the particular tiefling. It is his Puddle personality, his membership of one of Mendel's biggest thief gangs, and his chronic inability to stick to anything, even his own principles. Woodruff sees Incria purely as a convenient way to solve a few of his problems, at least for now. Trickery, stealth, perception. Wait. Mobility, stealth, trickery. Let's see. Pickpocket, of course. Finesse training, dagger. Trap finding. Sneak attack. Weapon finesse. He can scribe scrolls. 2-weapon fighting. Double slice. Offhand strikes with a greater power. Tiefling. Finish resistance. Maybe that's why he can't. Oh, no, that's not. He's better with range than he is with melee. But his attack is +6. He is an Eldritch Scoundrel. I already read that. Chaotic neutral. So am I. I wanted to. Did not have a. Oh, they're all masterworks.
We march ahead.
There Woodruff goes, but first I wanna identify embracers. Braces of armor +2. Oh crap! I could sell the dagger. I wasn't sure if we had one better or not. And the 4 was just driving me crazy. Would you? Woodruff gives you a friendly wave. Hey Chief, wanna talk? I want to know more about you. How much is more? How did you become a tiefling? Woodruff grins happily. I was already a tiefling and life made me a thief. I've been in this business since I was a kid. My grandma used to say, if you don't work, you don't eat. And she gave me as an apprentice to Yeager. Yeager. A tiefling neighbor of mine. He was a cunning old geezer. He knew how to take a purse off someone's belt, how to cut open bags undetected, and even do some magic. I used to climb through basement windows and open doors from the inside while I was still small enough. And when I grew up and stopped fitting through the windows, I decided I was done with my education. I repaid my grandma for everything she's done for me, which was absolutely nothing. Why would I feed her if she wasn't bringing me any money? If you don't work, you don't eat. So I took off. Wow. I was brought off my teacher too, but when I as much hinted as leaving, he said I owed him for my education. So I just nodded, and then I joined the Owlbears, the gang that ran our district, and told them that Yeager was working their territory. I don't know what happened to him, but I stayed with the Owlbears. Then their leader started giving me the cold shoulder. I did steal from them, but never that much, so I had to rat them out to the guards. Then I joined the Golden Hands. That was a good time. Rich pickings. So he just jumped to the next best thing. I would have stayed with the Golden Hands, but the Northmen promised me a bigger cut if I told them where the Golden Hands kept their loot. I'm no fool, of course, so I told them. After that, I had only one option, to join the Northmen, and then the family came. At first, no one took them seriously, called them thieflings and all that, but I felt it right away. They had power behind them, and they had more money. I'm always on the winning side, Chief. That's why I joined the Thieflings, and right on time, some thugs came from the capital and made the Northmen leave. The ones who survived are in the family now, too. Are your family Tieflings, too? My family... It's an interesting story, actually, but I don't tell it to just anyone. My father and mother had a bakery. Their life was great, but the gods never blessed them with any children. One day, my mother went to a river to wash some clothes and saw a basket floating downstream. Inside the basket was a baby, adorable and chubby and fast asleep. It was yours truly. In my hand was a note spritz with expensive perfume that said, take care of my little angel. My mother brought me home, and she and my father realized right away that I was heaven sent. They raised me as their own. When I turned 15, my mother showed me my baby blanket. It was embroidered with the coat of arms of an unknown kingdom, all in gold thread. Ever since then, I've been looking for my real parents, but it's not easy. Traveling takes money. So if you have a few gold coins, I'll pay you back as soon as I find my real family. I give you my word. He just said his grandmother raised him. That doesn't sound very, and he left her as soon as she couldn't work. That doesn't sound very believable. Seriously? Usually people just believe everything I say. People love stories like that, a cute baby, a basket, a blanket. What's not to love? They look at me differently, as if I'm worth something more, as if I'm worth more just because the sheets I spit up on might have had a fancy coat of arms on them. Woodruff laughed bitterly. If I were really a prince, I wouldn't be sitting around here, I can tell you that much. I have already gone to take what was rightfully mine, and then I come back with an army so I can watch the guards and merchants who pushed me around all my life bow and scrape before me. And that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Want to hear the real story? The true story is boring. My family is human, both my father and my mother. They used to live in a village nearby. I forget the name. When my mom had me, my old man got so mad he almost killed her. Pinned her to the wall and started asking questions like, why his son had horns and a tail? Well, my mom told him that her mother, my grandma, used to fool around with the demon. When he heard this, Daddy Dearest got drunk, trashed the house, and then took off. I don't remember any of this, of course. My grandma told me. I was about 3 years old when my mother brought me to Canaris and left me with my grandma. She said to her, you and your demon have ruined my life. Now you handle them. Then she left. I haven't seen her or my dad since. She did leave a blanket though. That part was true. But my grandma burnt it because it was infested with lice. It wasn't even good enough to use as a rag. You think after all that, my grandmother saw the light, felt rightly ashamed and kissed my arms? I wish. Woodruff grins nastily, his yellow eyes gleaming. People used to give her trouble for fooling around with the demon. She wasn't welcome anywhere, so she got angry. Normal kids get bedtime stories, see, but the only tales I got told were how my dad was worthless, my mom was a slut, and I was demon spawn that no one cared about. Listen. She only kept me so I could help her around the house and steal things she needed. So that's the truth. He said that was that's so he just said it. Tell me about the thieflings. Alright, I won't tell you everything mine, but I can tell you a little. The thieflings are Mendavian thieves. The gang was started in Mendev's capital by someone or other. And soon after they spread all over Galorian. They're also called the family. You know why? Because the thieflings are easy to spot. Wherever you go, guards always hassle us asking, "Are you lost or something like that?" We usually say we're visiting family. And if they say, "Oh yeah, who?" we give them the name of the local thiefling who confirms everything, even if he's never seen you before in his life. That's why we're all brothers and sisters. Smart. There are rules. Who does what? Who gets what cut? I won't say it a lot, but they make it worth your while. I won't say it's a lot, but they make it worth your while. They'll even heal you if you take an arrow. But the biggest no is this: you don't steal from the family. If you don't contribute to the shared pot, you'll get the cold shoulder, and you won't be treated like family no more. And then everyone will hear that you went to visit some relatives who have a farm someplace. My best guess, the farm is some underground well beneath Canabras, where they breed ground worms. If Sister Charismate, our boss, looks the other way more often, I'll really be able to spread my wings. Stealing from someone you call a sister, that's low. I don't want to say that. I wish there was a neutral option. But Incria do value family, so who you take in and anything, anyone you take in as family. So stealing from someone you call a sister, that's low. Birds fly low before a storm. I'm just surviving as I can. Woodrow fixed you with the look. Imagine the situation, Chief. You're 7 years old, you came home, and your grandma, your family, is lying there drunk, and there's no food because she got wasted in the morning and didn't cook anything. And you know that she has a stash under the third floorboard. You take this money so you don't have to starve. And then when she wakes up, she beats you because you shouldn't have taken it. You should have stolen some food. You're a waste of space. That's something you can never understand, Chief. You only care about moral choices. You want to know what's right and what's wrong. Brother, sister, grandma, mother. In real life, they're just words. Oh. What do you think of Canabras? It used to be such a hole. Then the Crusades and refugees came, and they started looking up. Although it depends on who you ask, I suppose. Witches better stay clear of here, because Iomede's followers are ferocious, especially Harvard Shapak, the local inquisitor. He's a tough old goat. I didn't see it myself, but a servant girl at the tavern told me that her second cousin's son from his third wife is a paladin. And he said that Harvard takes an unsheathed sword with him even to the privy, and when he sleeps he put it on a pillow next to him. And when he's in his cups, he strokes the blade and whispers sweetly to it, "You are my one true friend. You're the only one I can rely on." Irabet's giving us a hard time too. You as much as look at some little bauble, and before you can think of taking it, before your fingers even twitch, she comes for you with her nostrils flaring and her fangs glinting. Scary woman. But even she's better than Sister Charismate, our boss here in Canabras. By our, I mean the thieflings, boss. If you get caught by Irabet, it's all out in the open. You go to prison or you end up as worm food. But if you step on Charismate's toes, poof, you're gone. Just like that. No one ever sees you again. All you hear is he went to the family farm, even though he never had a family or a farm. Your shadow looks strange. What kind of magic is that? Ladies and gentlemen, roll up, roll up. No dark magic, no foul. A trick without any deception. The fact that they're all running away. Wojo snaps his fingers and blue flames engulf him. The shadow that was previously lying calmly at his feet grows, floating in the air behind him. It is the shadow of a long-horned winged demon with claws. Ta-da! It doesn't do anything. It just looks scary. I remember when I was little, an old beggar showed me and my friends how to make shadow puppets. You put your fingers together in front of a light and it makes the shadow of a deer or a dog or a dove on the wall. I tried so hard. I wanted to make the best shadow, and I did. It just happened. Wojo chuckled sadly. Funnily enough, that's the last time I had any real friends. They tried to stone me later, screaming at me, calling me a demon. A tiefling is always a demon to these wimps. Even the lowest ranking drunken gnome thinks he's better than me, just because he hasn't got horns or a tail. The poorest beggars in the filthiest gutter thinks he's better than me. Most people will never show their shadow again after that first time, but I don't care. If stone starts flying again, I'll just run. I'm used to it by now. Looks formidable. He's young, and you kind of feel all the stories he done said I've been depressed, so looks formidable. I like it. Wojo chuckles, please. What about the blue fire? That's my favorite part, and it doesn't burn at all. If I had a coin for every time I caught a beating for my little show here, I'd already be proposing to Godfrey. But still, I don't want to give up something so beautiful. You have demon blood in you. Do you feel drawn to the abyss? I guess I'm asking because I do. Oh, if it was anyone else asking, I'll keep my mouth shut. But you're a tiefling too, so yeah, I feel the pull. Sometimes my mind starts buzzing with all kinds of thoughts, but it's all nonsense. I don't want to go to the abyss. But I don't want to go to the abyss. I wouldn't last a second. Nope, nothing new. Fun in your love. Enough. I want to talk about something else. I have to go. Let's talk later. Words of shrugs. Whatever you're free to do. Whatever. You're free to do as you please. I want to go to the basement actually and head outside from there. Does Delvin say something different since wardrobe isn't here? Nope. Up. Up. Let's see, does something change? Try to pull them all down. Down. I have no idea how this goes. Down. Down. Oh, it went back up. I have no idea. Because this was done, I'm gonna try. After this, I'm going outside. Outside it is.
Our path leads on.
Oh, did it? I don't think I saved it. Let's see. What in the world? This is new. I don't think this was here. Commander, look what we've got here. Are you too mad? Whatever possessed you to steal that gem golem from the Tower of Estrid Museum? Explain yourselves. We didn't steal nothing, Commander. We saw some looters dragging it down the street and we captured it. Now this shiny fella is our trophy by rights. That shiny fella belongs to the treasury. That inlay alone is worth more than the castle. Oh, I really don't like the idea of leaving this thing unattended. Joran, see that no one lays so much as a finger on this golem or plucks out a single gem. And the same goes for you too. Your new mission is to guard this shiny fella, as you called it. Oh, it moves. It must be from the expansion. Canabras. Prestige painter golem. The magnificent and glittering golem, encrusted with gems and covered in intricate flowery embossing, triumphantly exclaims, "Happy to be of service. May Shaylin brighten and vivify your day." What are you? I am a prestidigitator painter. I am a prestidigitator golem. Many millennia ago, I was born by Aslanti clerics of Shaylin, the goddess of beauty, to make the world a better place. In my joyful service, I have visited many lands, and for the past few centuries, I have resided at the Temple of Sunrise Chrysanthemums in Tienzia. But then the good cleric saw fit to offer me a gift through the Mendevian Crusade so that you could share in the beauty I can create. Can you do anything useful? That's rude. My creators granted me the ability to place illusions on various items. I can change their colors and texture to make them more beautiful and appealing to the eye. Would you like me to cast the illusion over your armor to make it green? Green is a very pleasant color, and it will match your eyes. How did you end up here? Oh, that must be something from the enhanced edition then. I was born in the Tower of Estrid Museum, but then some not beautiful people came and started smashing everything. I asked them to show restraint, and that's when they decided to steal me after that. After all, I am beautiful and very valuable. They dragged me down the street, but I didn't want to go with them, so I kept stopping. The least beautiful of my kidnappers threw me over his shoulder, and tried to run away with me. But I am very heavy, so his back made a very not beautiful crunching sound. He started yelling, and then everyone else started yelling, and some of that yelling was directed at me, and then they started hitting me with their not beautiful weapons. And then some crusaders drove them away and brought me here. And Joran Vaughn. And now I've been lumbered with you. Waste of good metal you are. And instead of working, I'm supposed to keep an eye on you so no one is tempted by the walking treasure trove. What can you do to help the war effort? I was not designed for any type of combat. Yet I can bring beauty and harmony to any type of combat. I want you to cast illusion on my gear. Happy to be of service. Does this cost or is this free? Oh, so it just changed the appearance. Good to know. I think. Joran Vaughn. The grizzled dwarf turns a blade in his calloused hands, carefully inspecting its edge. When he sees you approaching, he sets the blade aside and greets you with a nod. A new face in the city. You pick a good time to come to Canabrish. As you can see, we're in sore need of warriors. Do you know everyone in Canabrish by sight? Well, not everyone, but I make it my business to know the people who might need my services. A blacksmith smirk isn't just at the anvil, you know. We've got a few of your kind in the city. The smith shakes his head in annoyance. I'll be honest with you. You won't last long here. By the hook or by crook. Tieflings are run out of the city even if they are thrice blessed paladins. It's shameful. Are you starting Bond's brother? Yep, where he goes, I go. That's how we've always done it. Even before the war wound, I forge the armor, he goes into battle and breaks it. He brings it to me and I repair it and make it better than before. Everything's changed since then, of course, but that part stayed the same. How was Thornton to blame for the fall of Dresden? I've told this story so many times already. Well, telling it one more time won't kill me. The blacksmith sighs. Dresden was built after the First Crusade, back when it seemed like victory was ours for the taking, and that the demon invasion would soon be at an end. The population of Old Socorus, was thoroughly diminished, and many of them hoped to see their hard fighting repaid with a small plot of unclaimed land. Dresden was a fortress built on all our hopes, and on Mendel's ambition, though you're not supposed to say that out loud. What a city it was, Incria. You can't even imagine. It was built by the finest engineers by the Five King Mountains. Queen Galfrey spared no expense. Dresden was meant to be the capital of the Crusade movement, a monument to its glory and a beacon of hope for all of Galorian. Heroes were drawn there to seek fame and glory, and they came from all over. Taldor, Garoon, Tianzia, I couldn't list them all. A relic known as the Sword of Baylor was kept there, the banner that had been carried into battle by Iomade herself, back when she was all human. The banner protected by the city and kept the demons from teleporting inside its walls. As long as the banner was in place, Dresden was invincible, or so we thought. Sword of Valor, the greatest crusader weapon, the greatest crusader relic, the Sword of Valor. It is a banner once carried to battle by Iomade herself. It is both a symbol and a powerful artifact which emits an aura that blocks demon powers. However, the banner only works this way in righteous hands, hidden from the eyes of believers. It loses its properties. But when the world wound suddenly expanded, the demons launched a new onslaught, and folks started saying it was time to declare the Second Crusade. Dresden was inassailable until one young officer was tempted by a beautiful woman. She convinced him that the banner shouldn't be hanging in the city, that his rightful place was on the battlefield. She whispered honey words about glory and valor and convinced him that he should be a hero as great as Iomade herself. That he could be a hero as great as Iomade herself, and the poor fellow believed him. He rounded up some of his hot-headed friends and carried the banner outside the city gates on an unauthorized parade. The demons slaughtered them within seconds, but for some reason, the courageous ringleader was spared. A whole army teleported into Dresden. It was a bloodbath. Joran solemnly shakes his head. And as you can guess, that officer was called Stottenborn. Stottenborn. And the woman turned out to be a demon. Not just any demon, it was Monaco, the vile wretch. She's given us a lot of grief here in Canaris too. Just don't ask me what I was doing while my brother was off having trice with that beast, and why I didn't save him from his own stupidity. The blacksmith gestures as if to ward off inedible reprobation. Who could have guessed it would end up like this? I failed my brother. That's the truth. I blame myself every day. Looking at his plight, so that's the story. Do you recognize this sword? Give him radiance. Do I recognize it? Of course I do. I made this with my own hands. There's my brand, see? The dwarf carefully lays the sword in his hands, gazing at it like a doting father. Oh, Yanio, things have been tough without you, but at least you still got your sword. That's something. Joran returns the sword to you. In battle, ordinary swords get blunted. They break. But sometimes a weapon can preserve. I don't like persevere. Can't persevere. I don't even know how to explain it. I am no authority on these things, but something like an echo of the deeds done with that weapon, or more like the reflection of the will of the soul. I don't know. I will say one thing: take care of that sword. Yanio may no longer be with us, but the demons will still remember what they need to turn tail and run when they see radiance. Why do you have a forge here in the tavern yard? Wherever I am, that's where my forge is. A true master of any craft will always find the tools they need. I miss my old forge, of course. It's not just a pile of charcoal, stone, and metal, but I've got my hands, and that means I can work. Show me your wares. Let's see, anything different. Ammunition. I don't know how many he has left. 6. Rugged helmets. DR3 melee. Oh, -3 perception. Well, Tina can maybe use it. I don't. Land and Incria has better perception. Living round. Medium. Whenever the wielder of this +1 buckler receives a critical hit, they are affected with the effects of a mirror image spell that produces 2 mirror images that last 2 rounds. That'll probably be good for Camellia. Attrition dagger. Once a round, when the +1 dagger lands a hit on the enemy, it deals them 1 constitution ability damage, but it can go below 5. Silver Hawk. What is this? Crossbow. Mace, sickle, trident, dagger. Oh. That's the basement I came from. How much longer can we hold out?
I
A
will
day?
guide us.
2? Wait. This place has been sanctified. It can protect the area from its corruption of the abyss. Oh, this is into the actual way into the tavern. That's not the basement.
Without a doubt.
I'm just looking for any names.
Forwards.
Oh, no, that's it. So, we'll go to jar and sell the stuff that we do have, and then finally head out. Wait, which way? Oh, wait. Didn't go this way. Even though I'm pretty sure there's nothing up here. Better be safe than sorry.
We march ahead.
Oh, there is something. Guess the feather is useful.
Our path leads on.
I think that's way out, way out. Basement tavern. Yeah. So the things we just found, since it's mainly bulk. What is this used for? Oh, scribing. Sure. Save. And now we can finally leave.